What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new live stream. We got the Daredevil Born Again Season 2 finale, The Boys Season 5, Episode 6 review. So we will get into that. I hope everyone's having a good week, good day, night, whatever time it is for you, and whatever part of the world that you're in. Yeah, we'll get started with Daredevil first. The finale came out yesterday, of course. So basically, the episode starts off with a flashback of Matt and Karen on a date at this restaurant. Then it cuts to present day of Karen Page in the courtroom, still on trial, of course. And then we see Jessica Jones trying to help Matt Murdock after he got shot in the leg in the last episode. So she's trying to get him patched up quickly because he's running late for the trial. And I thought the court scenes in this episode were all right. We see Heather in there, which I don't give less of a rat's piss ass about. I could honestly care less about her character, but that's just my opinion. Then Matt Murdock eventually gets there. What's up, Zone? We're just talking about Daredevil at the moment. But as I was saying, Matt Murdock shows up to the court late. Spurs or Wolves. Usually get to the sports stuff at the end. But I think Spurs will bounce back and even the series going back to Minnesota. But I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota goes up 2-0. But as I was saying, Matt Murdock shows up late. And, he's there, bringing up all these, points on, Heather in the last episode where she's about to get into a fight with Karen, and, he brings that up. And there's a lot of shouting and yelling going on. So then Kingpin shows up eventually. So he's there to, testify against Karen Page and, do his thing. And, I thought this was, very good where Matt Murdock uses it as an opportunity to expose Kingpin and, just expose all these like atrocities and crimes that Kingpin committed. Even though he's technically not the one on trial, Karen Page is. But I thought that was very smart of Matt to do. So then he tries to negotiate with the judge about it in another room. And, Kingpin whispers because he knows that Matt Murdock could hear him. Because, that's one of his powers, is hearing because he can't see. So he's able to convince the judge to allow him to do his thing. So, more yelling going on. And, they bring up Daredevil, and he's like, but Daredevil's in this room with us. And Kingpin's like, you're a fool. So then Matt Murdock goes ahead and outs himself as Daredevil in the courtroom. And they don't blame him at first, but then Matt Murdock takes out a stick and just throws it, ricochets off the wall and catches it. And then the freaking task force dude, who I hate, is like, damn, a blind dude who can fight. Or no, he said a blind lawyer who can fight. So he was kind of impressed by that. Um, but eventually, um, Karen Page gets dismissed um, from court. So she's free. And then as Kingpin walks out, he gets confronted by the woman who wants him out of office from being mayor. Um, she's the one who got saved by Bullseye in the last episode, which basically tells them that like you're facing all these charges now and stuff, but we'll give you a way out. Just leave the city, don't be mayor anymore, and you can just live freely. So as they're walking out, the task force were supposed to have a fake Bullseye, just a person dressed as Bullseye, shoot Matt Murdock and then frame it on Bullseye. But the real Bullseye is actually there. He knocks that guy out and then takes over, and he plans to shoot Kingpin instead. So then that task force dude orders him to shoot Matt Murdock, but he's like, wrong Bullseye. So then he goes to shoot Kingpin, but Matt Murdock's like, no, don't. And then Buck gets shot right in the leg. Just karma for what he did to Daniel in the last episode. So it gets intense, so everybody starts running and stuff. So then Matt and Paige go to Jessica Jones. Then we see these Daredevil supporters pretty much protesting Wilson Fisk now that the truth about him has been exposed. So they go after him, and then Matt Murdock dresses up as puts the Daredevil suit on, and he and Jessica Jones go to fight the task force. I love this scene where freaking douchebag task force guy is like saying, you step any closer, I'm gonna shoot you. And he's like, shoot him, and the guy's refusing, saying no, it's not right. And he's like, fine, if you won't do it, I will. And the guy just knocks his ass out, and he's like, get him out of here. And they actually let the people in. Now, this is probably the most ridiculous part of the episode, which, don't get me wrong, the action's very entertaining. But it is a bit ridiculous where they go after Kingpin and that freaking secretary or whatever, that lady who works with Kingpin or whatever, she's like, take the deal, and he's like, no, and he just refuses. So then he opens the door and he just goes boo, and he just punches the guy and sends him like 10 feet backwards. Like, what? Like, Kingpin does not have super strength. He doesn't have powers. He's just big and strong, so he shouldn't be able to like do excessive stuff like that. And he's just beating these people to death. Like he killed like at least 15 to 20 people, which was just ridiculous. So while that's going on, you have Jessica Jones and Daredevil fighting these task force people, which I thought was good. But eventually leads up to them like meeting in that like area or like balcony thing with stairs. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know what it's called. But the Daredevil supporters go after Kingpin, but Matt says, no, we're better than this. So he kind of fights Kingpin, kind of, but he tries to like talk him down and say, like, just take the deal. Which I don't know why that's still on the table. Like, he killed like 15, 20 people, but he's still pleading with Kingpin, just take the deal, leave New York, go live your life freely somewhere else, just let it go. So eventually Kingpin accepts, and I thought he was going to do something at first, like do something to Matt, like beat him up badly or whatever. But I was surprised that he finally gave up and accepted the deal. Then we have this whole like epilogue sequence. We see Matthew Lillard's character on an airplane with Bullseye for whatever reason. We see Luke Cage come back. First time we've seen him in like 7, 8 years. But he reunites with Jessica Jones and their daughter. He says, like, yeah, I'm done working for that guy and stuff. So he's back. So let's set up season 3. And then Matt and, well, no, we see Heather put on the Muse mask, which I'm sorry, I'm not interested in this storyline whatsoever. We'll see what happens to Buck because I completely skipped over this part. Heather tries to like give him the lawyer's jacket and he says like no, and then he's kind of just being a weirdo, so like she just like knocks him to the ground and she's like, don't touch me or whatever. That was earlier. Yeah, I'm just not interested in the freaking Heather being Lady Muse storyline at all. Like, I don't care for it. Then after that, make sure I didn't skip over anything else, but then we see Matt and Paige at that same restaurant, but in present day. And of course, police officer shows up to arrest Matt Murdock for the stuff he did as Daredevil. So it's like, I used to be a lawyer, so he knows his rights and stuff, and they don't fight it. They just accept it. Karen Page kisses Matt goodbye. And then he gets taken into jail. And then, we see Kingpin on that beach that he and Vanessa owned, just living by himself. I don't know if that's actually like in present day or if that's just a vision or what. But then we see a shot of Matt sitting in prison, and the season just ends there. Which they played another Radiohead song. They did that in season 1, so I was actually surprised that they did that. I actually thought they were going to show a post-credit scene of Punisher, but I guess not. Yeah, that pretty much ends the season. Finale overall, I give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It just kind of felt like an epilogue to me. There's some strong moments, and then there's just some over-the-top ridiculous moments. But I thought it was a decent episode, but it was nowhere near as good as the season 1 finale. I thought that episode was like a 9 out of 10 because I love the Daredevil and Punisher stuff. But season overall, say like a 7.6 out of 10, probably. Season 1, probably like season 1 of Born Again is probably like a 7.1 out of 10 for me, maybe. Yeah, I think this season was better than season 1. But season 1 had a better finale, in my opinion. I still don't like that they killed off Foggy for no reason. But it is what it is. But that's my review for that. And that'll be it for Daredevil until next year. Next, we have The Punisher, One Last Kill short film this week. So I will watch that and review it. Takes place during Born Again, if I'm not mistaken. It's basically after he escapes the prison at the end of season 1 and him going into hiding. So I actually think it'll be pretty interesting. Love John Berthel as Frank Castle, Punisher. I think he plays the character perfectly. Season 2 finale is the best episode of Born Again season 2 for me. I like seeing different opinions. I think it's interesting. Season 2 Born Again is better. Good review. Thank you. Let's hope season 3 is better. The Defenders are coming back for season 3, so I don't love that. I know Luke Cage is going to be back. Jessica Jones will be back. Iron Fist is going to be in it, and I heard the Iron Fist show on Netflix was absolutely atrocious. And it's the same actor who was in that show, so we'll see how that goes. And we'll see if Punisher's in it as well. Wonder how they're gonna get Matt Murdock out of prison the legal way. Like, I don't think they're just gonna break him out. I think Matt and Cole Nurth will team up in prison. Yeah, it's possible. But that wraps up the Daredevil segment as we transition to The Boys, season 5, episode 6. Gotta fix my banner first. But yeah, so so far I've been kind of negative on the final season of The Boys after episode 1. I really enjoyed episode 1. I thought episode 2 was like a solid episode. Last 3 episodes have been pretty mid. I'm not gonna be honest. Episode 3 was mediocre at best. Episode 4 was the worst episode in the season. It's also one of the worst episodes in the show. And I thought episode 5 was, I don't think it was bad, but I still didn't love it. I did like the firecracker stuff in episode 5, and I did enjoy the Mr. Marathon stuff. I thought that was at least entertaining. But I still didn't love the episode. But this episode, much needed bounce back. I actually thought it was a really good episode. I thought it was the best episode since episode 1. I think it's the second best episode in this season behind episode 1. But thought it was very enjoyable. But basically, the main focus is everybody trying to find the V1, the original Compound V that was made in like the 50s, I think. But that's the main storyline in this episode. We see the legend, aka Dr. Owens from Stranger Things. First time we've seen him in a while. But Vought pretty much froze all his assets and stuff. So he's working at one of their movie theaters so he can, afford rent in his apartment. So the episode pretty much starts off with like his routine and him going to that movie theater, and they got this freaking popcorn bucket. I know that's Noah, Jake, and Evan's favorite word, but whatever. Which, yes, we will get to Jason from Stranger Things as Bomb Site. We'll get to that later. Then later we see Homelander and Sage testing the V1 on just random people. And Sage is intentionally screwing it up because she doesn't want Homelander to get the V1 and become immortal. So she's like, yeah, I can't figure it out. And even though she probably could because she's the smartest character in the show, she's intentionally acting like she can't figure out how to replicate it because she doesn't want Homelander to have it, because they'll be like her worst nightmare. Um, and he's like, I highly doubt Frederick Vaught is smarter than you. So he actually gives her some credit. Then we see the Deep, and they give him a mission to like, okay, go fix this like oil pipe in the ocean or whatever. So he goes ahead and does that. And then we see Butcher and his team formulate a plan to get V1 from Bomb Site, and Huey and Starlight go to Homelander's church to plant the virus. So whenever Homelander does his thing there, the virus just releases and potentially kills Homelander and any other Compound V person is there. We see Sage calling Soldier Boy, and she tries to like use Ashley's like backhead to like get in his head and see where his head's at. So Sage tries to send him somewhere, and he's like, no, I'm not doing that, I'm busy. So then he just walks out, and then Ashley's like, he kind of wants to help Homelander get the V1. He's kind of proud of him. He doesn't want him to know that he's proud of him. So then there's that whole storyline, but we see the Legend talking with the boys, and he sees Butcher, and he's like, I was not looking forward to seeing you. And he's kind of aware that Butcher will use the virus to like wipe out every soup on the planet. He just wants to rid the world of soups. They're kind of making out Butcher to be almost as bad as Homelander, but in the opposite way. So we see Huey and Starlight just sitting or just laying on top of a car and just talking, which felt like the seasons need more of, is them talking. Since season 1, I've loved Huey and Annie's relationship. It's been arguably the strongest relationship in the whole show. So I feel like they really haven't done much with them in this season, which has kind of been disappointing. They really haven't done much with Starlight in general this season at all. Like at times she feels like a borderline side character. But so they go to that place, and she discovers that Firecracker is dead. And you would think Starlight would be relieved and happy about it because of what Firecracker did to her the last season, where she exposed her getting an abortion and trying to like make her look like this like evil person and stuff. But Starlight actually feels bad. She says like at the end of the day she was a human being. So I do like that moment. Because last week's episode, like how Starlight can react to finding out that Firecracker's dead. So she does feel bad. So they go to plant the virus, and Father shows up there, and they kind of reveal some backstory between him and Annie and how he helped her when she was young, in the church that she used to go to. So then they get into a fight, and Starlight just couldn't charge up her powers in time because he kept hitting her with his voice. So then he gets him to stop, saying like, either you let her go or I release this right now and you'll die in 30 seconds. And he's like, yeah, but she will. And he's like, nope, she already took the antidote, so she'll make it and you won't. He's like, you didn't come here to waste that on me. But All Father didn't want to take the risks, so he just backs off and lets them leave. Um, then we see them go to. So the legend takes them to go talk to this woman. I forget her name, but Kumiko is a big fan of her. But they try to ask her where bomb site is, and she has like no interest in helping them. So they, you know, drag her with them, and they use her to bait bomb site into going there with the V1. And he is played by Jason from Stranger Things. So we have two cameos from Stranger Things characters. So we see Jason and Dr. Owens cameo in this episode. So we see how defensive he is against them. And, he brought the V1 in case, she was in trouble. So she reveals that he wanted her to take the V1 so that they can live together forever. But she said no, she didn't want to do that. So he just ended up leaving. And they lost like many years of lost time. So then earlier they revealed to her that they just need bomb site to give them the V1 so they can destroy it. And she's like, why didn't you just say that? Tell him I don't want it. And then it gets revealed that Kumiko and Starlight are not going to take the V1 to protect themselves from the virus because they don't want to be immortal. They don't want to live forever just to watch Huey and Frenchie die eventually. So we'll see how that plays out into the last two episodes. We see Soldier Boy and Homelander trying to find the virus, or not the virus, excuse me, the V1. Sage plants footage of Homelander and Stormfront, and then Soldier Boy gets mad at him, and he's like, see what Sage is doing? She's just trying to drive a wedge between us. And Soldier Boy gets mad at him, and he says, you don't deserve to live forever, and just walks off pissed off. So we see Bomb Site fight Butcher and the boys and refuses to hand over the V1. And Sage teams up with Billy's team, saying like, we have a common goal. We don't want Homelander to get the V1. They're like, why should we trust you? And she's like, you shouldn't. You can't. But all I want is for Homelander not to be immortal, to die with everybody else. And I'm just going to have my bunker and read for the rest of my days. That's all she wants to do. And then we see Deep get caught up in this like giant oil spill, and then all the fish die and stuff. He's like traumatized about it. Which later on we see that New Noir is the one who caused it, and he's like, F you, and then plays like the loser soundtrack or whatever. So then Deep snaps and chokes out Noir, and I'm like, come on, Noir, fight back. I was rooting for Noir to like get out of it and just kill Deep, but of course Deep gets out of it, and we see Black Noir die for the second time in the show. I'm like, he should, yeah, exactly. He's supposed to fly. Like, why didn't you just fly away? Like, I don't get that at all. But of course, Deep is still around. But I hope Starlight's the one who kills Deep. But if Deep ends up surviving, in the finale, I'm gonna be really mad. Like, I hate that guy so much. He's just so annoying. Um, he's annoying and he's a piece of shit. So, um, but I thought I'd cover that really quickly before just rushing into the bomb site stuff. But bomb site fights Butcher and his team. Um, and they're not doing well against them. So Sage brings in Soldier Boy, which Mother's Milk doesn't like, of course, because um, he hates Soldier Boy for good reasons. But I thought it was cool to see Soldier Boy versus Bomb Sight, which sets up the Vought Rising prequel show. So that was a very entertaining fight. Um, Soldier Boy was winning for most of it. Then Bomb Sight flies him out of there, and and Soldier Boy's like, "I hate flight." Earlier, we see the Legend return to the movie theater, and Homelander kills his boss. Um, so they start talking, and he brings Homelander to where the boys brought him, and then he sees a Taco Bell receipt. And Homelander catches on to what Sage is trying to do, trying to screw him over, trying to stop him from becoming immortal. Um, so then the Legend gives him compassion and saying like, "Look, I feel for you, kid." Um, shows him compassion. So then Homelander ends up sparing him and letting him go. So he does leave, and then he has somebody at Vought track the necklace that woman was wearing. You see Soldier Boy talking down um, Bomb Site and saying like, "Listen, um, if you want, I can take away your immortality. You can go live with her with the rest of your life until your time runs out if you want." So then Bomb Site accepts. So Soldier Boy sets off his nuclear blast that fries out any compound V, including V1. Um, so Bomb Site loses his powers. He's not immortal anymore. And he starts bleeding. And he's like, "This is the first time I've ever seen my own blood." So then Homelander gets there. We see Butcher and the rest of the team hiding out in the woods. And Homelander's like, "I don't want to fight you." So then Soldier Boy takes out the V1. And he says that Clara said that who is Stormfront, said that I'm the strongest person ever, but at the time she never met you. So he gives the V1 to Homelander. So then, of course, he takes it, and Sage is like, "No, that's impossible. That's not supposed to happen." So then Homelander lasers his own skin open so he can inject himself with it. And that we get one of the most, probably you could argue the most like intense shot in the whole show. Homelander firing his lasers at like full capacity, like way more than he used to, into the sky, like lighting up a big red beam in the sky. And Butcher's like, "Oh no," and he tells everybody to run. And the episode pretty much just ends there. Such a phenomenal ending. I think it sets up the final two episodes perfectly. Um, So yeah, very enjoyable episode. I give it like an 8.4 out of 10. That ending was insane. Loved it. Such a good cliffhanger because now pretty much all hope is lost. Because now, how are they going to beat Homelander now? because he has the V1. He's immortal now. Nothing can stop him. The virus won't work on him anymore. So the virus is going to be pretty much pointless because the whole purpose of them making the virus was to kill Homelander, but now he's immune to it. Um, so the only way to make him mortal again is for Soldier Boy's blast to fry the compound V out of his bloodstream. But um, it seems that Soldier Boy's on his side, so they would have to trick Soldier Boy into doing that. Um, or it would take something for Soldier Boy to be on their side. Um, but at this point, I just don't see happening. Um, but yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see like what they decide to do because now the virus is pretty much useless against Homelander. But that being said, I enjoyed the episode. I give it like an 8.4 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I know. Especially season one. They nerfed Starlight in that fight. Yeah, it was frustrating. I'm like, blast his ass, but she didn't have time to. I hate when they keep flip flopping Soldier Boy. Like, first he wants to help Homelander, then he doesn't, then he does it. So annoying. Like, make up your mind. Yeah, I know that part's frustrating. I think he's conflicted for the most part because, you know, he can't stand that Homelander is his son and he just despises him and doesn't respect him at all. But at the same time, he is his son and he's really all that Soldier Boy really has in his life. Um, so that could be a reason why Soldier Boy does help him here and there. Black Noir died way too easily. Yeah, he should have flown out of there. I don't know why he didn't. Hope Starlight ends the deep in the finale. Me too. Yeah, that ending was crazy. But that's basically our episode reviews. We'll get into um, our film news. Mortal Kombat 2 comes out on Friday. Kind of want to go see that. We'll see if I actually do or not. But the last one came out 5 years ago. Kind of don't like that they're doing that because people are probably going to leak it on social media and it's like 3 days before it actually comes out. But it is pretty cool that they're actually showing it in theaters because I know they did that for Stranger Things. Um, but the finale better be a 10 out of 10 episode. I'll just say that right now. I don't need the finale to be a 10 out of 10, at least a 10. At least a 9.5. Like, go out with a bang. I think MM, Frenchie, and Kumiko are cooked next episode because of the episode title. I haven't seen the episode title for the next episode. I wouldn't be surprised if like most of the main characters die in the next episode because it is the penultimate episode. But you know, we've seen this shot in multiple trailers of Homelander sitting in the White House, so I think they're setting that up. I think there is going to be the final battle is going to be at the White House, just like the comics. But the showrunner said that they're not going to use the ending from the comics. That's going to be completely different. So we shall see. Yeah, he better die in the finale. Frick the Deep. I hope it's Starlight who I hope Starlight kills the Deep in like the most brutal way possible. The only survivor will be Starlight, Huey, and Ryan. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Because Ryan has that like plot armor. Like even if Soldier Boy's blast goes up around him, it won't affect him because he was naturally born a soup. Because he's Homelander's son. So Homelander's DNA gave him his powers. So he wasn't injected with Compton B. He just has his powers naturally. Starlight and Huey adopts Ryan as their. That'd be pretty cool actually. Even though he's already a teenager, but that I wouldn't mind that at all. I wouldn't mind Starlight and Huey showing him the right way. I could see that. But we'll get our film stuff set up. Just gotta share my screen. All right, so Invincible creator Robert Kirkman ranks all from best to worst of Invincible. Number 1, he has season 4. I disagree. That goes in last place for me. Number 2, season 3. Number 3, season 1. Number 4, season 2. I don't agree with that ranking. I think season 4 and season 2 should be at the bottom. Season 3 and season 1 should be at the top for me, but I just don't agree. Invincible creator says he wants to do a Rexplode spinoff project. I heard they want to do like a Rexplode special episode like they did for Adam Eve. So that would be pretty cool. Michael is now one of the highest grossing musical biopics of all time. Still haven't watched the movie. I never listened to his music that much. I just heard of him because he was popular. Avengers Doomsday was originally going to be released today. Thank goodness it didn't. Avengers Secret Wars will officially release in IMAX. So that's pretty cool. Greta Gerwig's Narnia movie has been delayed to February 12th, 2027. It will be Netflix's first ever wide theatrical release. I did not know that. Sonic 4 will be the first film in the franchise to release in IMAX theaters. I still haven't seen the first 3. March 19th, 2027. Early reactions to Spider-Man Brand New Day have been extremely positive. Well, that's a good sign. The film is said to be much better than Marvel and Sony were hoping for. Yeah, it's really the only Marvel project I'm excited for at the moment because I love Spider-Man. He's my favorite comic book character of all time. which I still got to do my Spider-Man video because you guys voted for that in the community thing. Um, I don't think Brand New Day will be as good as No Way Home, but I think it'll be a top 5 live action Spider-Man movie for me. But we'll see. Now this is interesting. Robert Kirkman wants the live action Invincible movie to be 3 to 4 hours long. The film is still in active development at Universal, and he wants it to tell the full story. I love Invincible. I love the show, but 3 to 4 hours is a bit much. I don't know if I could watch that in like one sitting. Plus, there's so much gore in the show, and they get away with it because it's an animated show. I'm just not really sure if they can go all in on the gore in a live action movie. Like, I think they would have to tone it down just a little bit. I know there's a lot of gore in The Boys, and I think it'd be kind of similar to The Boys, but like it gets really nasty in Invincible, especially in Mark's rematch with Conquest. That was a bit much. Current IMAX schedule for 2027 has been revealed. Sonic 4, Legends of Zelda, Godzilla Kong, Supernova, Star Wars, Starfighter, How to Train Your Dragon 2, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Shrek 5, Man of Tomorrow, Minecraft 2, The Batman Part 2, Mummy 4, Frozen 3, Avengers Secret Wars. Jesus. Michael is already breaking many box office records in just 2 weeks. Biggest opening weekend ever for a musical biopic. Biggest IMAX opening ever for a musical biopic. One of the fastest grossing movies of the year. Supergirl will officially have one post-credit scene. Oh, God. I am not looking forward to this movie at all. The film's current runtime is an hour and 50 minutes. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be very good at all. Early reactions to Mortal Kombat 2 call it the most epic action movie of the year. Mortal Kombat is a bloodbath of pure fun, deadly adrenaline fueled rush. The fight scenes were epic. Coolest fucking movie of the summer. Complete perfection. Exactly what a Mortal Kombat movie should be. Mostly positive stuff, so it does come out on Friday. I do want to watch it because Carl Urban's in it as Johnny Cage, and I like Mortal Kombat. I like the games. Project Hail Mary has now surpassed The Martian at the worldwide box office. Damn. Yeah, a lot of people love that movie. Don't really care about One Piece. The Boys series finale will officially release in theaters on May 19th. That's 3 days before it premieres on normally. Feel it in 4DX. Daredevil Born Again season 2 finale is now the highest rated episode of the series. I don't really agree with that, but whatever. Okay, why is season 2 episode 4 second with a 9.4? That episode was not good. Oh boy, Mortal Kombat 2 opens to 61% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, it's not bad, but I don't really care about Rotten Tomatoes. Matthew Lillard has been cast in DC's Superman sequel, Man of Tomorrow. I have no idea who he's going to play. He also worked with James Gunn on the live-action Scooby-Doo movies. I did not know that James was involved with that. Melissa Barrera slams Scream 7 after being fired from the movie. She says the film was nostalgia bait and Paramount lied about box office numbers. Yeah, they fired her over having an opinion, so it was kind of ridiculous. Peter Parker will not be responsible for his Uncle Ben's death in the MCU. Joe Russo says it would have made the character too intense. Yeah, that's pretty much all the film news. Let's go through the chat, see what I missed. I actually think Brand New Day will be better than No Way Home. Might be a hot take. I mean, I'm looking forward to Peter's arc because nobody knows who he is. He doesn't have anybody. Like, he's all alone. So I am looking forward to his arc. So I think that part of the movie will be good. I'm not excited for Supergirl. I only care for Clayface. I'm not watching that either. Like, why are you introducing a Batman villain before Batman? Because that's part of James Gunn's universe. That has nothing to do with Matt Reeves' Batman. Episode 4 is the second highest because of Bullseye fans. Honestly, I agree with that, but I do understand why you don't like the episode. Yeah, I mean, the main point of it is Kingpin's boxing match, and Vanessa dies in the most ridiculous way ever. But we are going to get into our sports stuff now. Right, so that pretty much wraps up the get into basketball playoffs. Okay. Jesus. Knicks in 7. This is game 6. Hawks get absolutely blown out of their own court. 140 to 89, just no fight whatsoever in an elimination game at home. The score was 72 to 22 at halftime. I'm not even kidding. Like, the first quarter was 40 to 15. Like, the game was over at halftime. Earlier than that. Just absolutely embarrassing. There's no excuse for performing like that in a playoff game. Knicks advance to the conference semifinals. And the Celtics, they lose game 6 in embarrassing fashion. They had a 3-1 lead. They allow Philly to tie it. Game 7 back to Boston. Jason Tatum was really the only one playing with any effort. He got injured in this game. 17 points, 11 rebounds, 30 from Maxey. He's been playing phenomenal all series. Joel Embiid had a solid game. Paul George's defense has been phenomenal. A lot of Phillies role players stepping up. VJ Edgecombe has been great. He's going to be a good player for a long time. But series goes back to Boston for Game 7. And the Minnesota Timberwolves get the job done against the Denver Nuggets. They win the series at home in Game 6. No Anthony Edwards, no Ayo Dosunmu, no Dante DiVincenzo. Jaden McDaniels steps up, 32 points, 10 rebounds. Terrence Shannon Jr. played phenomenal. Jokic, 28 points, almost said 28 rebounds. 28 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds. Denver is going home in round number 1 after they went into the season as one of the favorites to dethrone the Thunder and win the NBA championship. One of the most disappointing teams this season. So we'll see what they decide to do in the offseason. But I still believe Jokic is at worst the top 5 player in basketball. But yeah. Pistons avoid elimination down 3-1 at Detroit. Cade played. Oh no, this is in Orlando. My bad. This is Game 6 in Orlando. Orlando was up like 60-38 in the first half, and then their offense just completely went ice cold and stalled. It was the biggest collapse I've ever seen. Orlando missed like 23 shots in a row. It was absolutely embarrassing. Paulo was like 4 of 17. Jalen Suggs was horrible. They couldn't get anything going. They allowed the Pistons to get back in this game. Pistons pulled off a 24-point comeback, forced Game 7 on the road, 32-10 from Cade Cunningham. Just absolutely embarrassing collapse by the Magic. The Raptors forced Game 7 at home. RJ Barrett made a crazy shot, took a 3. It looked like it was going to miss. It went up in the air and just landed right through the hoop. Very similar to Kawhi's game winner back in 2019, seven years ago against the Sixers. Remember watching that game live. Lakers finished the job in Houston. LeBron with 28 points, 18 from Amen Thompson. The Rockets are absolutely pathetic. Don't even crack 80 points in this game at home in an elimination game. Lakers win their first playoff series since 2023 because I believe 2024 they were a first round exit against Denver, and then 2025 they were a first round exit against Minnesota. So yeah, first time in 3 years they won a playoff series. Saturday, May 2nd was doomsday for me. Only had one game. It was Game 7 in Boston. No Jason Tatum, prioritizing his health for next season, which is understandable for me. But I did not like the game plan going into this. The starting 5 that Joe Mazzulla decided to roll out, it was like he was trying to lose this game. Kid you not. The starting 5 was Derek White, Baylor Shireman, Ron Harper Jr., Jaylen Brown at power forward for whatever reason, and then Luka Garza at center. I don't know why Keto is coming off the bench. He's been this team's defensive anchor all season. So that just made no flipping sense to me. They start off this game down 0-9 at home, an elimination game. Philly was firmly in control throughout the entire game. Then it got down to crunch time. Celtics took the lead a couple of times, then gave it up. And then, I kid you not, the final 2 minutes, just jacking up threes, missing. They went 0 for 9 in the last 2 minutes. Let me say that again. They shot 0 for 9 in the last 2 minutes. and they allowed Maxey to get easy layups, and that's how they lost the game. Just too reliant on their 3-point shooting. That ended up being their downfall. No defensive aggression, no or intensity, no effort on defense, no rim protection, just not playing together as a team, just jacking up stupid shots, and that's how they lost the series. The 2025-2026 Boston Celtics are the first team in franchise history to blow a 3-1 lead and lose. The Philadelphia 76ers finally end the curse. They win a playoff series against the Celtics for the first time since 1982. Yeah, that's how long it's been. Just complete and utter embarrassment. Joe Mazzulla should be fired, but they're not going to. He's not that good of a coach. I'm sorry. He's funny in interviews, but like, look at his track record since he was named the coach after they canned Ime Udoka for stuff I'm not going to say on stream. 2023 trailed 0-3 against an 8-seeded Miami Heat team in the Eastern Conference Finals. Came back down 0-3, forced Game 7 just to lose in Game 7 at home. 2024, Brad Stevens assembles a super team. He goes out, gets Kristaps Porzingis, gets Drew Holiday. They win the championship. Okay, cool. 2025, you blow back-to-back 20-point leads at home, go down 0-2 at home. You lose that series in 6 against an inferior Knicks team, okay? And your star player gets hurt because you're putting way too much pressure on him. You're putting him in a situation that he does not need to be in. 2026, you blow a 3-1 lead against a 7-seeded Sixers team and lose at home. Like, Joe Mazzulla's track record is not good. 2024, he got carried by a talented team. I understand that the coaching market isn't the best right now. Mike Malone's off the board. Taylor Jenkins is off the board. I understand there's not many good options there, but Joe Mazzulla is not that good of a coach. His game plan is, let's just shoot 100 plus threes a game. Like, say whatever you want about Udoka, but at least he had this team locked in playing defense. That's how they made the finals in 2022. Yeah, they shouldn't have been playing drop coverage on Steph Curry, but still, at least, like, they had the best defensive net rating in the league that year. And Brad Stevens addressed the media saying, we need to go out there and get size. We need to start dunking the basketball instead of settling for threes. But sorry, I didn't mean to go on a rant there, but just frustrating. Celtics go home in first round of the playoffs, first time since 2021, which was 5 years ago. Thank goodness the season's over. This team's been frustrating all year long. So it's not the worst season, but I take last year over this year because, at least we were defending champions and we actually made it out of the first round. If we didn't blow back-to-back 20-point leads at home, we could have won that series in 5 because we won Game 3 confidently. Game 4, we blew that game. We're up 14 going into the 4th, and we blew that game. But then Game 5, we won confidently without Tatum. So we could have won that series in 5. But, of course, Joe Mazzulla is just stuck in his way. Another issue with him is he doesn't make adjustments. He's just stuck in his way, just sticks with his game plan of just jacking up threes and just hoping that they go in. But All right, I'm done now. On to Sunday's game. We had two more game sevens, pretty much wrapping up the first round. Um, but Orlando also blows a 3-1 lead. They're going home in game seven, their third straight first round exit. Paulo is really the only one doing anything. He had 38 points, 32 and 12 from Cade. Phenomenal performance from him. Detroit wins their first playoff series since 2008. Happy for them. Pistons got a bright future. Cade Cunningham's a phenomenal player. So yeah, and then this was a weird game because Raptors were up by 10 going in the second quarter, and the game got tied up at halftime. And then the second half, the Raptors just forgot how to play basketball, and Cavs took over, and they never gave up the lead from there. I mean, look at this, 38-19 in the third. That is ridiculous. But Cavs defeat Toronto without LeBron James. Of course, if you're aware of the LeBronto memes. But Cavs are moving on, take on the Pistons in a division rivalry. Not really much of a rivalry, but they're in the same division. 22 from Jared Allen, 19 rebounds. He's been pretty good in the playoffs so far. Scotty Barnes, 24 points. Raptors got a bright future. But pretty sure that wraps up the first round. And then Monday, the Knicks just blew out the Sixers by 38 points. I mean, it was just an ugly game. 137-98. Brunson with 35. Paul George with 17. Knicks immediately set the tone for the series. And then the Minnesota Timberwolves upset the Spurs and steal game one on the road. Anthony Edwards shockingly came back in this game. He came off the bench, which makes sense. He just came off a hyperextended knee injury. So I wasn't sure if he was going to play in this series at all, but I'm glad that he is. But he had 18 points, 11 points, 15 rebounds. Wemby defensively was phenomenal this game. He had 12 blocks in this game. He had like 11 blocks in the first half, I think, or in one quarter. Like he was going crazy in this game. Love the Spurs atmosphere of the Fiesta Court and the shirts that the fans are wearing. Like one group is pink, another group is blue, the other group is orange. Like I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, if Wolves keep playing the way they're playing consistently, they can certainly win the title. I wouldn't mind seeing Minnesota win the championship. Cavs, Pistons, game one. Pistons won this one pretty confidently. I still got Cavs in 6. It's just one game. But 23 from Cade, 22 from Harden. Stats look decent, but if you actually watched him, it was like, dude, lock in. It's the playoffs, but decent game. And then Thunder set the tone in game one against the Lakers. It's not really surprising. Thunder permanently dominated this game. 24 points, 12 rebounds, 3 blocks from Chet. 27 from LeBron. He was the best player for the Lakers. Austin Reeves did not play well at all. Jared Vanderbilt suffered a really bad finger injury, so I hope he's okay. But it was not good. Yeah. And then Wednesday, which is tonight, Knicks did beat the Sixers in a much closer, respectable game. They win by 6 points. Cat 20-10, good game from him. 19 from Paul George, not much better than the first game. But Knicks go up 2-0, heading over to Philly, and then Spurs up on Minnesota 33-24. So far, Wemby has 11 points, 6 rebounds, 6 points for Jaden McDaniels. That pretty much wraps up that segment. So yeah, playoffs have been cinema for the most part. Okay, have a good night, man. All right. That's gonna end it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next week. Peace out.